incorporate scrap metal as well?
That, you know what, I make my own scrap.
Okay.
I start out with flat sheets.
Okay.
With the stainless, I normally get 4-foot by 10-foot sheets of different thicknesses, 12 gauge, 10 gauge, quarter inch, 5/8 or 3/8 and half-inch stainless. The bronze, usually I get 2-foot by 10-foot sheets, which is insanely expensive nowadays. It's up to $9 a pound for bronze sheet. But that's why you'll see more stainless in here.
Did you start incorporating? Did you start with stainless and then start incorporating bronze? Is that the
Yes.
progression? And what, like, how long have you been using bronze with the stainless?
Bronze I started in the later 90s. I mean, probably 97, 96, 97, I think.
Do you work with other metals too?
I work in steel. I don't work much in steel. I started with steel, and I used to melt brass on it to get different colors to it, heat it up. Clients would always be concerned about how long is this going to last before it starts rusting. And I'd just say, you know, because I would polish it like I did stainless, and I'd clear coat them, or else I'd paint them with color, which I do miss the color. I do like color, believe it or not, but transporting painted pieces means you have to be really careful. And if they get scratched, I mean, now people come up to a show and they start banging on them with their rings and taking their key to see if they'll scratch. And then you have to go home and repaint it and whatever. But so I got tired of the rust problem, so I jumped into stainless steel in the 80s and basically stuck with that for a long time. Started adding, bronze is such a warm metal and traditional. It was wise for me. You have to think business too, but I like it. It's so nice to work with. It costs a lot more money, but the cost of the bronze is worth it because it's so much easier to work with as far as the grinding. The bending is easier, but then you can put all these great patinas on it. The patinas are done with chemicals. I use like cupric nitrate, ferric nitrate, liver sulfur, sodium potash, which are not too dangerous. You have to make sure you got good ventilation going on, respirators. I mean, you are sucking in copper and stuff like that if you're just, you know, because you're burning this stuff onto the metal. But it gives a, you know, great effect with texture. You know, it adds a color to the surface, and it feels a little more natural than the stainless. But the stainless is nice though because it'll pick up color from the area. If you have it in a nature area, you'll start getting greens and browns. If you're standing in front of it with a pink shirt or red shirt, that's going to show up into the stainless. If the sun's hitting right, it bounces off and picks up those colors. So I'm trying to push that off as being green. Because all the, you know, the new thing with art projects, big public art projects, they're always asking for green. Well, I'm green because I don't throw none of my scrap goes into any dump or even to be recycled. I take the smaller pieces and make smaller sculptures. And someday it may have to be recycled if I just can't get, you know, they get too small. But we'll never, you know, but you get paid, to recycle it. So.
Could you talk a little bit about how you achieve the bends, the large bends with the really thick material?
I have a piece of equipment called an initial pinch roller. And if you can visualize, mine's 5 feet. They're 5-foot rolls, about 6-inch diameter, 7-inch diameter, and it starts out with 2 rolls, one on top of each other, and those I can adjust from very thin to half-inch wide, you know, as far as separation. Behind that roll is another one, and that one raises up and down from behind it. So the higher I raise it up, the tighter the curve. The 2 rolls, the 2 in front, one curves this way and the other curves the other way, so it sucks the metal in, and the other one's rolling too, which receives it, and it's got a reverse on it too, so I can push it through and bring it back. And if I'm working with really heavy metal, the thicker, I don't just try bending it really tight the first time or I'm going to break the machine, which I've done. And the first time I broke it, it cost me $800 to fix because I got a little anxious and pushed it through too fast. So you work it slowly, tighter and tighter curve. But the nice thing about that machine is I can push the metal through one way, like push it through at an angle, and it's going to spiral the curve. If I push it straight on, you know, you get just your circle being formed. But And you can reverse it too. I can push it this way and then pull it out and turn it around, and so you can get the concaving curves. That's not the right word, is it? Concave and they're going to be reversed of each other. Let's put it that way. But yeah, it's a great piece of equipment. I got it from another sculptor who got his professorship out in Massachusetts. Didn't want to drag that 8,000-pound machine across country, but he got it from Fermilab, which is out in the Chicago region. I forget where it's at, but it was too dangerous for Fermilab. OSHA made him get rid of it. So it was to our benefit as artists. Because I think I paid $8,000 for that machine, and I researched. That was one of my little dream things to have. I mean, Susie got her computer before that. Because she said, I need a computer, and my dream had been sitting there for a long time, but the computer was important. So having it in-house, in my studio, lets me be more creative than always having to go to a business that had these things and paid them to be able to try to slam out some curves and work with it that way. Now, if I don't like what's happened, I can take and curve it more, or I can lessen the curve. I can't lessen the curve too good on the really thick stuff. It doesn't. I can reverse it, but I try not to do that. But it's pretty hard to machine. But thanks. Good question. Any other? Well, you've been very patient with me. Thanks. Thanks for coming out. Again, you know what? Thanks, my wife.
Oh.